My guest at this time is a Ring of Honor star. He's also a former Ring of Honor TV and tag team champion. It's, of course, Kenny King. Kenny, thank you very much for taking some more time to chat with me here today.
Good to talk to you again, bud.
Yeah, man. So the last time we caught up, we were talking about the ROH racial roundtables, which again, are still out there. If people want to go check those out, those were really incredible, man. Just I was watching those back this morning as I was getting ready for this interview here today.
Yeah, man. It's I was actually talking to Shane, and we did something similar for Black History Month, and I just give props to Sinclair. I give props to ROH, the office, everybody for just being, the kind of company that will be at not just say, hey, if you guys want to do this, okay. They were the ones that initiated, hey, there's something. Do you guys want to do a roundtable? So, much respect for them because they are allowing us to just to speak freely and just to kind of just to keep it real about it, about everything that's going on. So much props to ROH for that.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. I agree with you. Props to them and props to you, man, for the same thing, letting y'all's voices be heard out there. It's so important, especially when you have an audience like pro wrestling. So now you're back to action here, Kenny. The last time we talked, didn't even know quite when you were going to get to wrestle again. Now you are wrestling again. How has it been for you getting back into the ring? I mean, is it different? I mean, it's got to be different for you wrestling without all these fans and stuff here now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time, definitely. You hear your music and you hit the stage and you look out, and normally when there's a reaction, there's nobody, and then you just kind of, there's places where if you've been wrestling a long time that, in a match where you're, if I hit a nice move, I'm looking for a reaction and crickets, right? So
yeah.
What I will also do is I'll also again give props to the ROH, like the production team, right? Because they have since the beginning times is the first taping and the subsequent times, they really learned how to, I don't know, with video walls and whatnot, create like an immersive environment. So, when you look out, you see video graphics and whatnot. So you're not looking at empty seats so it doesn't really take you out of what's actually happening at hand. So it actually even focuses you, me even more in on, now we have TV cameras. Now instead of playing I always play to the camera, but now it's one of those things where everything is now for you guys at home. So now that's since it's been immersive and since it's been great, I think the product has looked better. And I just think it's just easier for the boys and the ladies in the locker room to work.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy to think that on a different timeline at this point, you guys could be doing a live weekly television show, and instead you're kind of in this weird, like you say, immersive experience with all the screens and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it was definitely a shock, right? Because I've been on shows where there was nobody, but there were supposed to be people, right? But it was definitely one of those things that's just kind of counterintuitive to pro wrestling, right? Pro wrestling is showmanship and whatnot. So, but like I said, with everything going on with the just how everything is just really all inclusive, it allows us to sharpen our focus a little bit more. And you guys are getting the best possible product.
Yeah, and one of the things that Ring of Honor came back with out of the gate was this pure tournament. Now, you did not do, unfortunately, very well in the pure title tournament, Kenny.
Through no fault of my own, the Los Faccion Ingornabes lawyers, we got all of that sorted out. I was the only person to lose a judge's decision. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's a soft spot.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Like judge's decision, I got the guy in a half crab on top of the fact I almost knocked him out with my finish. But that's what you got lawyers for, bro. I don't have time.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, I guess do you still want to go after the pure title even after that? Is that a title that's still because it's not on your resume right now? It's one of the titles you haven't held in Ring of Honor quite yet.
It's definitely. I am interested in all facets of being all facets of the game. I want the pure championship. I want the tag championships again. I want the 6-mans. I want the TV, and I want the world title. So because I've never before the pure title literally almost vaporized right before I got to Ring of Honor.
Yeah, because you came in 2006, right, as Danielson was kind of retiring the belt, right? It was like
I came in 2008, and it was
okay.
Kind of so the belt had been retired, but there were remnants of it still. There's still remnants of matches, and people were still still high on the pure style, and it had been gone away for so long. And I think it has been one of the best things that we could have done was reset with that style, with more of the sports presentation, with the sit downs, and really getting to know the guys that are going to get out there and wrestle, and then go out there and wrestle a pure technical, no nonsense, no frills kind of style. And I think that was just one of the things that kind of turned it, just turned the perception around for Ring of Honor. The Ring of Honor wasn't just floundering. We've actually got a new direction, and it's working out really well.
Yeah, and that direction fronted by Jonathan Gresham, who's the pure champion right now, who won the tournament, right? Is the pure champion now. What do you think about him kind of taking on this, right out of the gate here as everything's getting back going again? He's got 2 titles here at the moment, really seems to be taking on more of a leadership role. What's it been like for you watching him these past couple months kind of grow into this new role as opposed to where he was not quite the same, thing before things went dark last year?
It's just a maturation process. I've known Jonathan Gresham since he was Jonathan Davis, way back when on the Florida indie circuit, right? So to see him, I've always thought that he is one of the most creative and just special people to watch in the ring. He's so fluid, the way that he just there's no wasted motion. He ties people up. He uses his size, which a lot of people would consider his size to be a disadvantage. He uses all of that to an advantage. And now he's definitely been hitting the gym. He's
Oh
super
yeah.
jacked. He looks great. But I think that it's just it comes a time in every man's life where you got to step up, and this was John's time. He saw the opportunity that the pure division is tailor made for Jonathan Gresham. He's still gonna lose to me when I get a shot, but it's tailor made for him. He is what you would consider, when you think about the pure division, you think about a guy like Jonathan Gresham, a guy like Shelly, a guy like Nigel, a guy like Brian. So in 2020, 2021, I couldn't think of a better guy to lead that division, and he stepped up. There
Yeah.
was time, and he did it.
It's kind of cool to see you put Jonathan in the same vertical as guys like Nigel and Daniel Bryan's in there. I mean, that's a huge compliment, especially coming from you, Kenny.
Well, I've seen him, right? I've watched these guys. I've watched Nigel with my own eyes. I watched Brian in awe with my own eyes. I've wrestled Brian, and the if you watch these guys, the styles and the fluidity is very, very similar. And it's a credit to John that he's taken his craft so seriously that he can be put in that kind of category.
Yeah, man. And Kenny, what's it like for you, man? I mean, you've got to be one of the more veteran talents at Ring of Honor at this point. I mean, you kind of
It's
been
like,
in and out, but
bro.
so what is it like? What is it like for you, like watching these young talents come up and things like that, and helping to kind of get to mold them and support them and things like that?
Man, it's kind of surreal, right? Because I blinked, and in November of this year, it'll be 20 years that I've since I stepped into a wrestling ring.
Wow.
So um, I don't even know when that happened, right? I still feel like that guy who was out there in the indie scrapping, even though I don't want to be on the indie scrapping, but I still feel like I got that heart. So I feel like I got that desire. But it changes. It's my I don't know. I want to. It's my responsibility. I feel like the same way that when I first got to Ring of Honor, there were guys like Brian and Nigel, and Roddy that took me under their wing and kind of just, tried to get the most out of me as a pro wrestler. I feel like it's my responsibility to do the same for the guys that come through, the guys that I see potential in. Um, it's almost like each one teach one. Everybody that gets is supposed to give back.
Yeah, yeah, and another talent you worked with here before we get to you resigning was I'm sorry, I'm right down here is Shane Taylor. Sorry, total brain fart there. Yeah, you and
So
Shane had another banger here just a couple months ago. Talk to me about what it's been like, similarly to John, kind of watching Shane, rise up. This is a guy who's very differently positioned now. I mean, world title picture contender as opposed to where he was before the whole pandemic and thing broke down.
it's again, uh, it's Ring of Honor, right? Ring of Honor's always been next man up. So whenever someone leaves or whenever there's a spot created, the person who is prepared, the person who's hungry and driven, they're gonna fill that spot. And Shane, went from uh, the guy who was like, well, Keith Lee left Ring of Honor, so what's Shane gonna do, right? Everybody
Yeah.
just kind of almost gave up on Shane, and then we gave Shane a shot, and Shane has in every opportunity made himself better as a pro wrestler, made himself better as an athlete. He he understands the game very cerebrally. He understands the business aspect of pro wrestling. He understands so many, so much stuff that you may that if you just looked at Shane or that people probably don't give him credit for, and that is part of the reason why he has been able to seize these opportunities and able to put together a squad, Shane Taylor Promotions.
Yeah.
And I am proud of Shane. That it is something that um, it's going to be something to watch Shane and Roosh. Now, my allegiances lie with LFI, but I am going to I'm going to be very happy for Shane watching him in that match because this is what he earned it. He deserved it.
Yeah, for sure. And talk to me a little bit about LFI, La Faccion Ingornabes. I tried my best. I'm
I
doing
was
my best.
almost said Los Faccion Ingornabes.
La Faccion Ingornabes.
Ingornabes. There's a B in there. It's all good, baby. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I'm from Texas and I'm having flashbacks to my Spanish classes right
Uh,
now. I apologize, but talk to the fans out there. Really interesting group here, rooted down in AAA. Killer Cross is a former member of this faction. But what brought you into the group? Why do you feel like this is the best fit for you right now at this point in your career?
this is, I mean, the Indigo Bernable organization is one of the biggest ones and most over ones in pro wrestling, right?
Right.
And has some of the most, uh, I don't know, some of the most prestigious members. It started with Roosh and Andrade in CMLL in Mexico, and it branched out to Naito, and Naito formed his own group in Japan, and the Indigo Bernables de Japan are very, very popular. So it wasn't something that was, I guess the best factions are the best groups of things that happen organically, right?
Yeah.
This isn't a situation where anybody in the office was like, "Hey guys, Kenny, you speak Spanish. Why don't you get with Russian Dragon Lee?" Right? It's a situation where it took a while to kind of manifest. I met Russian Dragon Lee for the first time in Mexico, I think 2017, and there was mutual respect there. I've seen Dragon Lee come back and forth a couple times, and we built a relationship. So seeing those guys come to Ring of Honor, and then kind of solidifying our relationship more, and we're just on the same page. We're like-minded. Um, those dudes are wild and crazy, and I feel like my role is more like a consigliere. You know what I mean? If Roosh is Vito and Dragon Lee is Mike, I'll be Tom Hagen. We're putting the ship together. I'll be the one to point out the targets, and then we set them up and knock them down. So it's going to be one of those things this year where we have full strength now with Bestia del Ring with us. We're about to whip everybody's ass, man. It's about to be it's about to be chaos. We're really about to bring some of that Ingornable, let's just call it controlled chaos. We're going to bring some controlled chaos to these foundation members that want to whine and crying about the rules.
Yeah, for sure. And you talk about the Japanese version of Ingornabes, which of course Naito infamously runs, and that faction has also been in Ring of Honor as well. I've actually sat next to Naito when you guys came through Chicago with the World's event, I believe.
Mhm.
What do you foresee here with the New Japan relationship? Do you think that that's going to continue on here in 2021? Yeah, I mean, just what's your vibe? Obviously, there's a huge web of what's going on with the world of pro wrestling at the moment, Kenny. That's why I ask.
I think that's one of the sweetest things that's going on right now is that you really don't know what's going to happen next. Uh, a lot of the walls and the old, nonsense, egotistical nonsense has kind of been put to the side in order just to create better optics for pro wrestling, and I'm all for it. So the New Japan relationship, the Ring of Honor relationship is not, it's strong. It hasn't gone anywhere. Obviously, things are different because of COVID, and talent exchanges don't work necessarily right like that right now. But um, it is definitely something that Roosh and Dragon Lee and I have talked about is uh, some kind of meeting of the minds, seeing how we can maybe you know sit down with some other Ingornables.
Have like a kind of a big like a mafia style sit down with all the families. Is kind of what
Yeah,
you're describing.
you have a sit down with the heads of the families and all the seconds and all the thirds, and then we discuss how we can move this thing forward.
Would you? I mean, the phrase "the forbidden door," I guess, is what they call it now. Where New Japan obviously working with you, but the relationships now they're with AEW, and obviously AEW. There's more than enough history there with Ring of Honor from the get. I mean, would you like to see Ingornabes take it even a step further and walk into that forbidden door that these other promotions seem to be walking into right now?
I'd like to take the Ingornabes everywhere and tear it up. I think that this is that what we have is such a special group of dudes, and such a unique style that we bring, that everywhere we go we'll show up and wreck it. So I think that's only good for wrestling. I think that the more crossovers that you see, the more uh, unpredictability that you get. I think that's what's just going to get more people to tune in.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Kenny, while I have you here, I was looking again, just kind of preparing for this, and I wanted to take a moment to step back. I was at Madison Square Garden when you won the first match of the night, the Honor Rumble, and there were a lot of big names in that. And I think I maybe touched on it before with you in the past, maybe even closer to the event. But now, with having been away, the pandemic and being dark, what's it mean for you? I mean, to look back and remember that moment where you're in this packed crowd, you're in this historic venue. I mean, it's got to be surreal for you, especially how the last 12 months have played out, man.
That's the word, surreal, right? Especially because of how everything is shut down. And when everything is shut down, you kind of go back to your memories. And I see pictures of it all the time, and I see myself getting sprayed in the face by a very ingracious, not so great Muda, you know what I mean, and
Wow.
causing retinal damage. And all I was trying to do was shake his hand, because it was a good fight, right? But to be able to stand in the middle of Madison Square Garden in the same ring as Jushin Thunder Liger and the great Muda, and get my hand raised, it's just up there, right? Like this, I uh, I think that when you're done doing this, uh, two things that you'll have fixed in is, you'll always remember the times with the boys, right? That's kind of one of the major underlying things of anybody's wrestling career. You don't remember the matches, but you remember the boys. And I think that if you're lucky enough, you'll create moments that you can hang your hat on and you can always just be proud of. And I think that's a mark of a successful career. So that's one of mine for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, what is it? What a successful career you've had, Kenny, and that brings me here to the close, where I got to ask you why we set this thing up. So you have re-signed. I mean, we've talked a lot about what you've been doing here in recent months with Ring of Honor. We've talked about a little bit with your history, but why now, man? Why re-signing? Where do you see Kenny King and Ring of Honor going from here? What more is there for you to do with Ring of Honor?
Well, it isn't as though I didn't have to really think about it, because there was interest in talking in a few different places. But when it really came down to it, just talking with Dragon, talking with Roosh, and just trying to get a feel for what everybody wanted to do, and we just felt that we've got a lot of meat left on this Ingornabes bone. There's a whole lot. See, I almost messed that up too, right?
No,
uh,
it's a hard phrase. I'm sorry.
there's a whole lot of meat left on there. There's a whole lot that we haven't shown the fans, and there's a whole lot of success, more success that we can be had. Um, so it was just one of those things where we decided to keep the band together, and I think that we do have the opportunity to be one of the most successful groups in all time in Ring of Honor. I think that was really the motivating factor, is that there's still some more to do.
Group of thoroughbreds, man. I'll say that much. I think there's like 57 abdomens between the four of you guys. So
Well, Dragon Lee's got 42 of them. So
I was about to say, Dragon Lee are a load. It's like he's hiding salamis under his skin there. So
he's,
anyway,
he's a freak. He's amazing.
anyway, Kenny, I'm very happy for you and all your success, man. I'm happy to see you're back in Ring of Honor. Before we wrap it up here today, is there anything else you want to plug, promote, put over? Maybe send people to find you, follow you, anything like that?
Yeah, follow me on all my socials. Is Kenny King PB2 on Twitter, on Instagram. It's Kenny King PB2. If you're on TikTok, come follow me on TikTok. Like my videos, because my whole TikTok is trash. Right, I've been putting these good videos, and nobody likes my videos. Nobody watches them. So go watch my videos. My TikTok videos are very cool. So that's about it, man. Just keep watching Ring of Honor. This year is going to be a big year for us. We've got this formula down pat. If you liked what you've seen, and that's just what the general consensus is, that you guys are digging it, keep watching because we're gonna keep rocking.